course, is Timothy Bellavia. I'm an associate professor at Touro College, University, rather, Graduate School of Education. I look forward to training you for 2 hours. Part one, with regard to safe schools against violence in education. Again, this has been mandated since the year 2000, 25 years ago, for teachers or teachers in training to understand and how to navigate to advocate for students that they serve. Also understanding the ins and outs of what a mandated reporter is and is not, and also what our role is. So in order to be certified in New York State, you have to take four, as of now, four trainings. This is one, and it's a 2-hour training. You will not receive a certificate at the end of this seminar, but I could make you one. Uh, but that being said, this will appear on your transcript and eventually, that operative word, when you graduate from Touro or when you complete your work here at the university, the Office of Certification will push out your information and recommend you to the state of New York, which will then, if you pass all your certification exams and submit a successful TCAP, which is your portfolio, you will get your professional teaching license in the state of New York. Okay, violence. What is violence? Now, I am going to ask all of you to give me an example or share your definition of violence. This could be a hashtag. What is peace? Is I prefer to ask that question, but what is violence?
Violence for me, it's Lisa.
Hi,
Uh,
Lisa.
Violence is somebody that inflicts physical harm and damage to someone or try to kill someone
Okay.
with malintent. It's all malintent.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa, for that definition. And let's give Lisa some affirmation. Lisa is an
Thanks, Lisa.
award-winning SAVE scholar. No,
Oh my God. Yes.
no, I was quoting her earlier. So, but I want to give Lucas some love too, or credit and affirmation. I am going to do that celebratory. Lucas wrote in, when harm is called mentally, physically, or emotionally. So, as a hybrid, I'm Riley. Okay, Riley, you're very memorable. I remember what you wrote. And of course, whoa, 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 this is great. Violence, this is what Riley wrote. Violence is causing emotional, mental or physical harm to another. It could be purposeful and unintentional. And then Kristen wrote a behavior that causes harm. So we've got like we'll call it a spectrum of different definitions. And Olga, thank you for putting in your first and last name. And violence is anger and lashing out mentally or physically from overwhelming emotions. Okay, excellent. Okay, so, all right. So, that being said, brilliant work, everyone. And I'm touched that not only did people speak up, Lisa, as well, using their voices. Some of us are using our inner voice, and I appreciate you writing that in the chat area because it just gives everyone an opportunity to share their thoughts as well as their definitions. So I want to acknowledge all of us here, and I'm going to send one more emoji here. I'm going to do the wow. Thank you. So again, we're recording this for clarity within making sure that everyone is credited for being here for the 2 hours. Also, this may be used for a colleague of mine who wants to kind of watch what it is. So we defined what violence means to us. Is it new to Americans? Now, I don't mean to move my shoulder. I'm really not a Barbara Streisand fanatic, but I have to say she's joining us today. And over here is Donna Summer, who was a puppet that I made. All right. They had a duet called Enough is Enough. And I segue into that not to start singing Enough is Enough, No More Tears, but metaphorically, I can, but don't make me sing. Enough is Enough, No More Tears. If you don't know that song, number one in November of 1979, that's okay. The point is that violence is not new to America. And if you know the lyrics in that disco number, it it talks about it's raining, it's pouring, and basically metaphorically, enough is enough. I can't go on. So is violence new to America? Is the question. Somebody. Absolutely not. Kristen says with conviction. Nope, not at all.
Not at
It is
all.
not a view. Emma writes, it is, oh, Emma, it is, la, la, absolutely not. Okay, I gotta scroll up because everyone's so participatory right now, which is great. It is not a new way in any way. The United States is built on violence. Thank you for being so brave and sharing something that I probably might get called out for. So, but grateful to you. Marisol wrote, it's ingrained into our society. So is violence, and this is something that I'm not sure I want you to answer this question, but if you want, you will and shall. Is something that it's even hard to say is violence become is it specific to America or is it a global thing? As an art educator, I'm into global arts. I like the ability of making things with people because I think you learn better when you make things. And I mean that with like all metacognitive ways and pedagogical processes. When you make something, I think you're more attuned to what it is. So if I was teaching science, I would do what
I mean,
plants
if I
like. Yes,
may,
yes, Lisa. And
I
global.
in globe
Miss Turner, Tony Turner says global. Yes,
art
definitely.
for me, when you talk about expressing art and people speak through their art.
Right.
So if you look, it is global because all these famous artists at some point depicted violence in their artwork. Maybe they couldn't speak about it verbally, but it comes out artistically. And if you, and I love art. I'm a big lover of art, and I go to the museum often. And sometimes you forget what you've seen, and then you look back at something, you go, "Wow, they were saying violence against women, or this happened." And Revolutionary War, you look at the pictures of what happened and death, and so art does just speak volumes when it comes to violence, and
Right.
it's
And also we have paintings in the Metropolitan Museum, which is a few blocks from where I live,
right.
that it definitely is depicted
Even music as
yeah,
well. It's the
right.
arts definitely speaks through if about violence
Well,
through.
arts to speak through our time. So back
That's my
to
opinion. That's all
well,
I'm
thank
saying.
you for that opinion, and I appreciate that. Okay, so I'm going to give you a blast off. So, global issue, but people may be more aware of it wherever one lives. Though it's important to know what's happening globally. That's what Ms. Jada Eldridge wrote. And then I think I want to acknowledge that what Marisol wrote is I think violence is global problem that may vary in its forms based on location. So in from a historic, because I teach social studies in the arts at Toro, we can't deny that the Middle East historically whatever New Year you celebrate, that is a hotbed of the problems, conflict. Okay. And conflicts, patterns are part of society, and violence is a pattern in our society, whether it's police brutality to police have a $6 billion budget, by the way, in New York City. That's another conversation. But so behold the underlying truth. There's a pattern that is going on that we can't deny when we put our finger on the pulse of what is going on in our world. So, for example, when I say May 2nd, 1999, do you think of anything that happened? Of course, at the time, Cher was #1 on the charts with the song Believe. And of course, she was 52 and had a #1 hit for 4 weeks, and she couldn't hit the top 10 after. But because Billboard is so ageist. But my point is, what happened on May 2nd, 1999 in Colorado? Columbine. Okay. So that, if you didn't know, there were two students that were allegedly, and I know I say alleged, they were alleged victims and accused aggressors. Now I'm sure there's footage, and it was 1999. They took their own lives, but they also took the lives of several others. And we would go deeper with this particular act of violence in terms of what caused the victim bully victim situation where you're both a bully or an accused aggressor as well as an alleged victim. But we're doing that in the 6 hour presentation if you take it with me or with anyone else. But with this, that violent situation happened in America in 1999. Now we fast forward to the year, I believe it was December 8th, 2012. What happened in Sandy Hook, Connecticut? There's no, if you don't know, you don't know.
Another school shooting.
Another school
School
shooting.
shooting. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the one where the kid, also young man, um took his own life, took his mother's life. His mother homeschooled him, and I'm not putting homeschooling down. I'm just, it's a fact. And then he took the lives of several kindergarten students. And actually, one of my students in Parkside, Florida, at Toro, he was in my socials in the arts class, 604, way back. He was a victim of the shooting in 2018, which was in November. So, what I'm talking about patterns, and I don't mean like, stripes and polka dots. I'm talking patterns in our society. This is a systemic problem and a pattern that we see with gun violence. And the right to bear arms is a conversation that we're not having. But the pattern is happening, has happened, and we can't deny that. All right. So back to our presentation. So in do these create violence? Now, I'm a big popular culture, we'll call it an addict. So, like in my perfect worldview, I would like everything to be like this. And this is called an after school special. And I'm not making fun of it because I love it. I wish everything was a 22-minute without commercials, beginning, middle, and end where it's resolved. And there's a conflict and there's a problem and it's resolved. And it happens to happen in America in an after school special. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's okay. I'm totally dating myself. But that being said, guns, divorce, unemployment, poverty, diversity, video games, music, and sports. Now, back in the Tipper Gore era, Tipper Gore was once the first lady
Hmm.
in America. Well, actually, she was the second lady, but in my brain, she was the first lady because I thought Gore was going to win the election. If you don't know what I'm talking about,
Yes, I
look it
do.
up later. Look it up later. All right, it happened in the year 2000 and the ballots in Florida, and it was interesting. So that being said, Tipper Gore was not the first lady. She was the second lady. She was Al Gore's wife and his. And she, of course, in 1985 talked about lyrics that were controversial in songs. And of course, if you buy a CD, which probably you don't, I'm still buying LPs and CDs and I stream too. But I think it's fun to have the record or something in my hand. But it has a little logo that says parental advisory recommended or what. It's like a little rating. And Tipper Gore was doing that in 1985. And I bring that up because does music cause violence? And the argument in 1985 in Washington with Frank Zappa and Sheena Easton, of all people, talking about their songwriting and Prince and all that. These are popular singers from that time. Today, singers have the parental advisor. I think Justin Bieber has it on his new album. It's a little sticker or a little hyper thing, that hyper sticker that's implanted when you download it. It says that the songs are explicit. So, but does back to our slide here. Does music cause violence? Do video games cause violence? Okay. I don't have time to do a dissertation on what causes or what creates violence in the globe or specifically in America. But there's a record that went again to #1 by Billy Joel, and it's probably the worst Billy Joel song ever written, and I'm sure he would agree with me. It's called We Didn't
It didn't
Start.
start the fire.
No, don't make me sing. But those,
It's a great song.
it's a great, I personally, it's a guilty pleasure, like the Backstreet Boys. But the point is, the
It covered
song,
everything in history.
it talks about everything in history. It's kind of like that
Mhm.
50 Nifty United States, like you can't forget all the states because you know the song. And then can you make the connection to geography? That's another conversation with metacognition. But yes, and I want to point out that Jordian basically said, yes, definitely. Could we, because you're so good, Miss Morgan, if good is not the right word, you were so incredibly articulate with your further information and definition that was, point on the spot. Uh, would you be so kind to share that, or if you don't want to, that's okay too.
Yeah,
You've
I can
you've
go.
been very participatory, and I really appreciate this, and I think so do your colleagues.
Thank you. Yes. I mean, I love the conversation around violence because I feel like violence is a culture, unfortunately. Some people use violence as an answer, and they place those answers in the form of music, um, and especially video games as well. Even academically, like my kids, there's some games that they play. Like we even played Class Dojo, and we were playing Dojo Island, and it involves some type of someone having to die. It wasn't a game that was inappropriately flagged. If they play it all the time, we can play it in the school, but someone had to die for someone to win. So I feel like just those small notions of violence are becoming very normalized, um, and they're like just dripping in the foundation of almost everything to the point where you don't even know what violence is anymore.
So thank you very much, uh, Ms. Morgan, for sharing uh, your thoughts. And I want to acknowledge that Kristen wrote in the chat, yes, the language we use is so important. So I guess the speaking to the spoken word. My philosophy is everything you say is a prayer. So if you talk about violence, guess what? You'll attract it. That's just me. It has nothing to do with you. All right. So I don't want to like proselytize my philosophies onto you or superimpose anything, but everything you say is a prayer. And what I mean by that is that the spoken word is so powerful. And if you say, I look fat, then you look fat, or something like that, or you attract things that you don't necessarily want in your life, but if you say it, you're going to get into that trip. So I want to just acknowledge that people wrote, um, Nina wrote, I don't think it creates violence, but it can desensitize people to the effect of the violence. And then Tracy Cohen wrote, it promotes violence and desensitizes individuals to violence, but it does not directly cause it. And then Nina wrote, whoa, I want to make sure. Christiana wrote, I believe individuals' interpretation of music and video games can encourage and desensitize violence. Minsky Zwiebel, which I think is not your name in Canvas, but I do like Hala Zwiebel, I think is what I saw.
It's
But it says,
Minky, but yeah, it's under
okay,
Hilda.
Minky, your name is different in Canvas.
Yeah,
Just saying
that's
that.
my nickname.
Oh, well, the steel trap is still good at 54. All right. I remember
Well, he's my
learning.
age.
Ooh, I figured we were the same age because we both know what the after school special is.
Yes,
My
we
mom
are.
is having a baby, 1976, the best one. Or when Scott Baio played a homosexual. The Secret. The Secret, that was called. That was in 1979. All right. I remember, oh, River Phoenix was dyslexic. That was good too.
That
I
was.
remember learning that there was a correlation that violent video games lead to violence, but not the causation. Wow.
That's great.
Really? So, I mean, what I like about our conversation is that we are not necessarily agreeing to disagree, but we're having a conversation about what is characterized about being desensitized to these acts of violence. Okay. And depending on where on the globe, I would think we all want love and peace and time on the planet without conflict. Yet it seems like there's that pattern that happens often. All right. So, do other countries have the same issues but are less violent? Can we speak to that?
Everybody has violence.
I think
Okay, so
yeah.
we are the world.
Hmm.
It's back to 1985, my friend Lisa.
Yes. Don't make me sing.
Don't make me sing. All right. So Project Safe, please don't make me sing. But I do sing to students when I want to get a point across, and I'll write different lyrics to a song like The Green Light, which is about your teacup, and it's To Everything's All Right with Andrew Lloyd Webber's and Jesus Christ Superstar, circa 1971, the year of my birth and yours, Lisa. At the close of 2000, as I mentioned earlier, there was a bill that was passed in New York State known as SAVE. SAVE addresses the many important issues in education, specifically to keeping our students safe. The following components must be included in New York State schools districts to comply with this bill. The school safety plan. My big ask, and I don't make me sing Umbrella by Rihanna, but the big umbrella is the safety plan. We're just going to go there. Not singing, but umbrella. The umbrella of this workshop or this training is, do you know what your school's safety procedure is? Back in my time, and maybe some of your time, there was something called an air raid where they would play a record on the loudspeaker, and we would either go under our desk or be in the hallway in front of our lockers. And we won't get into, the training was just to make sure that everyone's in a safe space. Now we have things called lockdowns. Do we know
Yes.
the procedure? Do we know how
Yes.
to escape the school? Okay, that's real important and take that very seriously. When you're expected to do that, whether it's a fire drill or a safety drill or a lockdown practice, it's to prepare you for if someone does come into the school. There's a code word and there's a procedure, and your students must be in compliance to it, whether they're general and special, and they must get out or get into the way to make certain that they are in the safest place possible, whether it's locking the door, turning the lights off, hiding so they're not in harm's way. Okay, that's real important. Now, is this new to some people? Are we not familiar with there's nothing wrong with not having that. And Shawnette wrote, violence is everywhere. It becomes an uncontrollable plague. All right. So, is anyone not aware of their safety plan in their school? And if you are not aware, it's real important that you do. In a perfect world, I would like us to kind of, as a homework assignment, bring back the safety plan and the preventions or the intervention strategies, and talk about how they work or not work. So the policy, the procedures, threats, violence, it goes into a circle. And of course, early detection is obviously what we want to have. And of course, the annual training for staff and students are part of that policy. All right. So there's a designation of the emergency response team and the post-incident response team. There's also internal and external communication systems that include the fire department as well as in our case, the New York City or New York State Police Department. The plan must include floor plans, blueprints, roadmaps, conduct drills, as mentioned earlier, and securing and restricting access to the school. Some of the problems that had happened with the violent activity on December 8th, 2012 to May 2nd, 1999 was there wasn't a security, didn't really have restricting any access to the school, or maybe it was a familiar face that was within the confines of the school. Okay, so the code of conduct. We talk about code of conduct when it comes to student teaching, when we're representing ourselves in our school, and maybe our race or our common humanity. That includes dress and language, security, removal from the classroom, detention, suspension policies, and procedures for contacting a parent for law officials, and suspension of schools if the student or scholar is disruptive or violent. Okay, that also includes teachers. So disruptive versus violent. Okay. Violent is a student or a person that commits an act of violence on a teacher, employee, or a student. They display, threaten, or have a use of a gun, weapon, or any dangerous situation. As an art teacher, scissors, hot glue guns, they can be weapons, needles. I was always looking for ways to make art or have the students have the ability to express their blueprint when you're in New York City and the state of art in New York State with the confines of the standards, but using the materials that were, not restrictive, but also safe. Destroys property of school teachers or fellow students. Disruptive is when someone is substantially disruptive the education process or interferes with a teacher's authority over the classroom. Um, are we in compliance and are understanding the difference between disruptive versus violent? Okay. The disruptive is something that could be a management issue in yourself. And of course, as an educator of experience, I can say I've made every mistake, and that's why I consider myself an expert teacher, and I still am learning. Okay. There's certain ways that you could talk to a student, and as an art teacher, there was a process, and in any teaching, there's always the backwards design, what you're trying to achieve, and how do you get to that journey or that destination within the journey of the pedagogical process, whether it's the steps to making something or writing something or doing a math problem, etc. Um, I won't go into this if we were in student teaching. I would give some examples, but in terms of just recently at 53 or 52, I was with a student and I was doing a push in for a special project that was grant related. And I told the kids that they could make a sage doll any way they wish. And it was right after the lockdown, and everyone had a little friendly kit that they didn't have to touch anyone else's things. And a student was cutting up their puppet, and I just said, "Oh, you're really on to something." Now, I could have disrupted the creative process and saying, "Stop, what are you doing? You sunk my battleship, or you cut into my overlock stitching of that puppet." But she made a mermaid and it was beautiful. And I'm so glad that I let her make the fishtail out of the leg and the back of the puppet and the crown that was three-dimensional. But, in terms of the defining of the process here, that would have been a disruption to her creative prowess. Okay. That is a management within myself as a teacher. And maybe I did better with my effectiveness by allowing the student to do what they needed to do. But disruption is often something that you could control with management and experience, where violence is something that is maybe not something that we can control because we're only control over our own destiny. So the teacher and principal authority, the removal procedures are similar to a suspension, but what happens if the violence is out of control? All right, so violent incidents, each year annually, these SAVE documents go to the state of New York. Usually on June 30th, they're due, and by the 1st, all the data is completed. And this is about 25 years of data of the number of violent incidents that happened in the school, the types, the number of suspensions, if any, the locations, the weapons, the actions taken by the grade, and the ages and the grade or grade bands. So character education is something that was brought on in the 2000s. We don't have time to talk about any dissertations or research, but love, truth, and honesty is the civility, citizenship, and character education of K to 12. Health curriculums also base this on this, and New York State Commissioner must develop and distribute violence prevention packages. They're always in the office. In I've seen in New York City and charter schools. Okay, and then violence prevention training is what we're doing today, and the whistleblower protection. If you are a mandated reporter, you are protected by that protect you have no you have a civil duty to share, but there's you will not be you won't be fired for the incident if you are whistleblowing. Okay, fingerprinting, it may cost you a little over $100. Okay, but in terms of for background checks for students, we've often had students be fingerprinted as well as student teachers to make sure they are in compliance. Okay, just want to talk about assaults. Class D felony is an assault on a teacher. Um, Child abuse reporting, we are mandated reporters for child abuse. This is will be further defined in that 3-hour seminar that you may be taking this semester or maybe prior. Silent resignations, if you aren't transparent, you will you could face up to 4 years in jail and a Class E felony. I promise you, the Class D and Class E felony are not on the exit ticket. Okay. Court notification, again, this is all legal, but it's not part of your permit record. And individual risk factors include hyperactivity, restlessness, risk taker, aggressive behavior, early initiations of violent behavior, antisocial behavior patterns, and deviant attitudes. Okay. Some family risks include criminal parents, child abuse, poor family management, ACEs, basically. Okay. School risk factors include academic failure, low bonding to school, truancy or dropping out, frequent school transitions, and peer community risk factors include, gang memberships to poverty to guns and drugs within with students with disabilities, so this is not uncommon to happen in my school. So maybe we check with the student to take care of their needs in the moment, but regardless of how serious the threat is, we need to contact their counselor. And I'm going to give you a thumbs up because one of your Kristen Morrison also gave you an affirmation. So bravo. Okay, now here's the deal. Accept it if you will. It's now 10:12. I would like you, or you need to, liking is not the right word. You need to go into your Canvas platform, okay? And I am going to go back to my future here. Hopefully I can. Okay, great. And you are going to, I'm going to go into that student mode, okay? And you are going to go to modules. So everyone can see this on their screen. Yes. Okay, thank you. Shawnette, for nodding your head.
Yes.
You're very helpful. Thank you. Oops, now you're going to go into modules, hopefully, and you can see the modules.
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. All right, you're going to go into what's called assignment number 2. Okay, I'm going to click this open and hopefully I'm not going to see anyone participating yet. Okay, beautiful. So I'm going to pretend that I am answering this like a participant. I'm going to copy this and answer that. I'm going to hit the word reply and I'm going to push this through and I'm going to hit reply. I didn't really do it, but I'm just showing you how to do it. And there it is. Okay, I'm pretending I didn't see that. All right, but okay, this is where I want everyone to really be mindful that from an educator of, I guess it's going on 35 years, I know that you want to get the job done, but the job needs to be done in a way that is thoughtful and not just to check off the boxes. I'm not that person. All right. So, with regard to this, I will read it, I will remember it, and I will be giving you content and commentary. Okay. Saying no to all of this is great. Okay. Good for you. And that's really good for you. But with regard to it is, I hope that you're going to go deeper into no. I hope I make myself clear. I'm giving you some time to do this. If you've done one post and you feel that's sufficient, that's between you and God or goddess. But when I give you the feedback, I'm going to give you the business. You're going to get credit, but you are also going to be getting you're going to get feedback with regard to reflecting on the how do you think it might impact your view of your children in your class and the behavior and your teaching methods. Okay, that's the most important part of this part of the training. So if you're clear and conscious about did you answer that question, groovy. I'm going to give you about 9 minutes to complete this particular task. And we're all clear in terms of how to reply within this bracket in assignment number 2.
I just have a
Okay.
quick question. Can we bold either yes or no instead
You
of
can
putting like a
do
check mark?
you can do whatever you
Okay.
want. I just want you to really focus in on the how do you think it might impact your students' view and children in your class, their behavior, and your teaching methods. Yeah, you could bold it, you can do whatever you wish. Okay. I just want you to really be mindful and thoughtful of this because I think I was pretty clear about waiting. Okay. And I appreciate everyone being attentive and regarding to present. Right now, the presents are that you have 9 minutes to
Okay.
complete this task. If you choose to go forward, I prefer that you don't
Okay.
because there's another task that needs to be done and it should be done at the end and you only get 2 chances to do it. And if you fail it, it's on you. So I'm making myself very clear. This is in recording. And I'm just saying, if I'm not in control of you. I'm only in control of myself, but there are certain things that we have not covered. And as the designer and the course team leader of this and other trainings, we need to be mindful that this is a process and the journey isn't to finish it, is to understand it and synthesize it like you do with Bloom's taxonomy. Yes. Whose hand is up? Somebody's hand was up. Or that was a cat or rat.
Lisa, I just wanted
Lisa.
I'm sorry. I know you just want us to copy and paste the bottom part of this.
No,
where
I
it
want
says
I want everyone
whole
to
thing?
participate. I want everyone to participate in this. But what I saw, well, I haven't
Mm.
graded it yet. I saw that some people just wrote no to all the answers and didn't really go deep into
Mhm.
the how. All right. So just be mindful of that. And when we come back, we'll just do a brief discussion on this. Okay. And there's another hand that's raised.
Question.
Oh,
I sorry.
go ahead.
You said that people are putting no to all the answers. Are we supposed to be putting like the ACE survey on there too, or just the two
That's
bottom
what I was
questions?
asking. Yeah.
You're supposed to do everything. I think what's really unnerving is just that people just went ahead and did it while we were going over the discussions for the point of this, and we haven't really even talked about the ACE part yet. So it would be a good idea that you answer the prompts to your best ability and focus in on how this might affect you as a teacher if your students have violence or trauma at home. And what do you do? All right. So just do the best you can, and you're given time to do it now. That's
Okay.
all. All right. So you have 9 minutes to do it. It's now 10:18. Uh, I'm going to give you until 10:31 to complete this task. Are there any further concerns or questions?
Timothy.
We're good?
Really quick.
Joe, Joseph,
I'm sorry. I'm trying. I have a hard time navigating to the right page. So I'm going to the modules, right?
you're going to modules. Yep, we're going to go again. We're going into the modules now, which I shared with you earlier.
And I'm going over there to the which part? I'm going to
You're going to modules and your score down. It's called assignment 2. Okay, so you scroll down to
okay.
assignment 2, which is right here. I'm going to annotate that. I'm going to put a circle around that. See that? Okay, we're going to erase that just because
Just a second. I was assignment learning activities assignment.
I'm going to do that again.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to find just a second.
Okay.
For some reason I have only assignment 1. Maybe I'm on the wrong.
You need to refresh your computer because you probably logged in earlier.
Got it.
Just refresh your computer because I opened those up because I didn't want people to go ahead and do them without really being mindful. There's a point and a purpose to this, and that in terms of checking a box, I'm not that person. I never will be. Okay, there's a purpose and reason for this. We're going to have a discussion after, but right now I want you to focus it on that. So then you click on assignment number 2. We're going to
Good. I'm
You're
getting out
good?
of I'm getting out of Canvas and I'm relogging because maybe my
Okay. Right now, because of time, Joseph, I want to assure that everyone's getting the 9 minutes. So you're able to log in and you're seeing that assignment 2 is there.
yeah, I'm relogging. Okay. Seminar chat reviews.
I just want to make sure that you're in the right section too, Joseph, because there was a little bit of a pilot error. Maybe. Okay.
So
Joseph, what's your last name?
Kalish, Kalish. I
Okay.
only see assignment.
Yeah, okay, Joseph, I think the reason is because you're probably in the wrong section. What's your last name?
Kalish.
Yeah. Uh yeah, Joseph, you're supposed to be in the December group.
Oh,
Okay. Now, if you want to stick around, I could give you credit for this.
sure. I'll be happy
Okay.
to.
But right now, we need to be focusing on the people that are here. We're going to be taking attendance when we return. Okay. But Joseph, I'm going to just email you the information and then we'll go from there. But we're running behind. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Sorry about that. I hope this doesn't affect anyone else. I hope that you're all in the right section. All right, so I'm going to turn my video off and I'm going to give you the 9 minutes. We're going to come back at 10:32. We're good? Joseph, I just emailed you the question from the discussion board. It's going to be a little extra work for myself, but if you want to continue the training today, even though you're in the wrong section, just let me know. Okay. And just respond to the email. You're not going to be able to participate in this course shell because you're not in it. You were in the wrong section.
Sorry. Thank
I
you.
thought I didn't recognize your name with the email, and I was right. I hate being right, but that's my memory for me.
Got it. Thank you. I'm waiting for that. Oh, oh. Oh, okay. Okay.
folks, do we need more time? Yes or no? We're good?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to give just a few more because there was a little bit of an overlap with confusion with one candidate, but that's good. We're going to resolve that because we work together. I'd like to take attendance when we return and also go a little deeper with regard to the ACEs and that discussion. So we'll log back in. I guess we'll take attendance and follow up at 10:35. Okay, we're going to take attendance right now just because I probably should have done this earlier. So, Alexandra, are you here? I need to hear you. So put your microphone on. That's a no. Rachel?
Here.
Hello?
I'm
Hi.
here. Hi.
Okay, we're almost in the afternoon. Thank you. Mariana?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. Sophia?
Here.
Great. Jenna, I've seen you. I want to hear you and your commentary.
Hello.
Hello. Olga, I've also seen. I want to hear you.
I'm here.
Thank you for your participation. I want to say Michaelia? I said your name wrong. Tell me how to say it right. Michaelia? No. Lucas, are you here?
Hi, good morning. I'm here.
Good morning. Olga, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
It's
Good morning.
there's two Olgas today, though. Olga
Yes.
B and Olga C. You're Olga C. Tracy Cohen, good morning. Hello?
Good morning.
Hi, just want to make sure you're in Canvas for the attendance. Stephanie,
Hi, I'm here.
Christina,
Hi, I'm here.
Caleb,
Good morning, I'm here.
good morning. Amanda, not here. Jada Eldridge, good morning.
Good morning.
Jessica,
Here.
Jada, the
Hi.
other Jada. Hi. Elmira,
I'm here.
thank you for your participation.
Thank you.
Shakir, Hossein? No. Alexandra, you are raising your hand. why can't I hear your voice? Say hello. Okay, the whole point of this is to have sound and vision, but okay, I see that your hand is up. I need to hear your voice for attendance. That's why I asked you to turn your microphones on. I cannot do the hand raising thing. I just did it though. All right. So, Nina Hunt,
I'm here. Good morning.
Nina.
Oh, wait. Alexandra unmuted.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
I'm
Nina,
so sorry.
there are two Ninas here. Nina Hunt and there's Nina are you here?
Yeah. Hi, good morning. I'm here.
This is Nina I, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Jackson,
Hi, I'm
here.
here.
Ms. Knight, are you here?
I'm here.
Great. Caitlin. Peldon?
Hello, Professor. I'm here.
Caitlin or Peldon?
Pardon.
Okay, great. Ms. Lopez? Ada Maurice? Okay. Alexandra, I'm in the middle of taking attendance. What is your question?
I'm so sorry, Professor. I had it's my bad. I'm here.
Okay, great. I'm glad to hear your voice and make the connections. Perfect. Okay.
Thank you.
Ms. Lopez, are you here? There's two. Kimberly Lopez? Fabian? Nadia?
Hi, Professor. I'm here.
Nadia?
Hi, I'm here.
You're Nadia, correct? Say yes or no.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
this is important. I can't see you,
Yes.
I hear you, but I want to make sure everyone's getting credit now in Canvas. So if because I went through three names and I didn't hear voices, so that's why we're asking. Christiana?
Hi, yes, that's my
Hey,
name.
Riley, great. Riley, are you here?
Riley's here.
Great. Michael? No. Jordian?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yes, VIP. Kristen Morrison?
Hi, good morning. It's
Thank you for your participation. Crystal? Crystal? Okay, Gabrielle Paul.
Good morning, Gabrielle.
Gabrielle. Okay, Marisol Pina.
Here.
Good morning. Lisa.
Here.
Okay, Emma.
Good morning, it's Emma.
Good morning. Natalie.
Yes, I'm here.
Gabriella. Gabriella? Nope. Esther.
Yeah, here.
Great, Esther. Hannah. Okay, Ms. Torres. No. Ms. Turner.
Hi,
Tony
I'm
Turner.
here.
Good
Yes,
morning.
I'm here. Good morning.
Mezu.
Mezu, hey, how's it
Mezu?
going? Good morning.
Good. Don Vega, I remember seeing your name. Want to hear your voice.
Hi, good morning. I'm here.
Thanks for your participation in the discussion boards too, or the discussions. Zariana?
Yeah, good morning.
Zarina.
Yeah,
Okay.
Zarina.
Shanette?
I'm here.
Shanette?
Hi, I'm here.
Yes, I see you. Yeah, good. And then Hilda, which it says Zwiebel is your last name, but on Canvas, it's on Zoom, it's a different name. Hinda?
Yeah, Hinda. Yeah, I'm here.
Hinda. Okay, great. So I want to make sure everyone's given credit for being here. If you see a red X next to your name, that means I didn't hear your voice. So I'm assuming that everyone has a green check by their name and you see that. And Joseph, because of my memory so impeccable, thank God, I figured you weren't in this section, but I let you in and I'm going to have to carry over your stuff to another area. All right, so thank you. I got your email and thank you for your participation. So everyone is accounted for in attendance on Canvas as of now. We're good. Okay. Bravo. That wasn't terribly painful. I probably should have done that earlier, so I'm going to laugh at myself. But that being said, great work, everyone. Anyone want to share out their hows with what would be their ACE? Now, ACE is basically, it's a PTSD test. You're given it at any age, and that asks you a series of questions. It kind of measures the trauma that you've experienced in your life. Usually, childhoods are supposed to be joyful, fun, peaceful, happy. That's not always the case with students that we serve, whether it's the Department of Education, charter school, or a privatized setting. whether it's religious or not. How would you approach this to that letter question with regard to reflecting on completing the questionnaire? And I haven't been able to read your commentary. How do you might think it might impact your view of the children in your class, their behavior, and your teaching methods?
I could go.
Thank you, Dawn Vega.
You're welcome. So I was answering the questions above. I've never experienced any one of those questions, but as an educator, we come from a background where we see multiple students, and they come from different households. We don't know what they face outside of the classroom unless it's told to us. So it's very important where the mandated reporter comes in, where you need to notice different situations that occur. If a child comes in the morning and they're sad or they're upset, find out why, speak to them. Also building that trust with your students, that relationship where they could trust you and lean on you and know that you're there for their support. This way they're able to tell you what's going on too. For little kids, it's a little bit harder because they're little, like kindergarten and first grade, but that's where that trust comes in. And if you notice they're upset, ask them why. If they come in with certain behaviors, find out what's going on at home. I would like to give an example. The past school
Please
year,
do.
last year, I would have a student come in and we noticed the difference of behavior where mom dropped him off versus dad. We didn't know that he came from a household where his parents were separated. So he only saw dad like every 2 weeks, which was contributing to his behavior a little bit. So we wouldn't have known that unless mom came over and told us. So it's
Right.
important to build that trust and that culturally responsive classroom environment with your students and with parents as well.
Right. Right. And also sometimes the kids don't want to tell you with regard
Right.
to what's going on at home. Okay. And of
Exactly.
course,
That's where the
trust takes time.
yes,
So with too much too soon is too much too soon, and
yes.
trust takes time. So I think where I want to, applaud you, Dawn, is that, you want to be that teacher. I'm giving you some affirmation. I want to give you want to be that teacher that the student can trust. And I know from my experience, growing up in Buffalo, not that Buffalo is a bad place to grow up, but I didn't like it. So it wasn't the snow. But the point I want to make is that just basically I didn't, there's a lot of things, incidents that happened, but I couldn't tell my teachers because I didn't trust them. And years later, when they friend me on Facebook, they said, "Oh, you should have told us that that your card was keyed with a derogatory word." I'm like, "Well, would you have done anything? Like, what would you have done?" And I think, like the trust level wasn't, maybe it was the time or whatever, but the trust level wasn't ever there. So in these times, be that teacher where the students do trust you, and communicate and ask questions. Okay. So with regard to the transparency of the scholar student that you're teaching or the parent, sometimes there might be shame might be involved and they won't talk with you or share with you. But in that case, if they do, that gives you a little bit more context of what's going on at home. Okay. And divorce is traumatic. It does happen, and it is traumatizing, especially if there's a court case and it's not by default, like just the differences. It's just, it could be more complicated. So that being said, any other people want to share? One person, Kristen, wrote, "I agree with Dawn. It's finding out the why and making the connections to other situations." Okay. And then Ms. Knight, thank you.
I was just gonna share, like, I work in Bed-Stuy. I was teaching second grade. I had a student who lost her mom. Her mom died during childbirth. It was pretty traumatic. And watching her from that point in the school year to pretty much towards the end, she completely changed as a person. And I guess just me just knowing her very well, I took notice to that, and eventually, got her the help that she needed, I didn't want to go into the whole spiel, but basically from watching her and being able to talk to her and getting her to the right people, the school found out that once her mother died, half the income in the family was gone. There
Right.
wasn't enough food in the house. They didn't have enough for clothes or whatever the case may be. And they were Muslim, a Black family, very proud dad. So of course, he was telling the children, like, don't go into the school and say anything, don't talk to anyone, don't say anything. But it was noticeable because she was quiet, and she went from being quiet to fighting people, to yelling, to cursing, to just being a completely different kid who she was from the beginning of the school. And just, just recognizing and just looking in and just noticing, like, hey, something's just not right. Let me try to talk to her. We were able to get her help. The school was able to provide them groceries for the rest of the year. And I bought clothes and sneakers for her and her siblings and went over and spent time with them. But, you just have to pay attention, because yes, you have 28 kids, but you have to just be cognizant and just vigilant and just paying attention, because that's just sad. Like, okay, condolences is one thing, but you have to step out sometimes and do a little bit more than just say, oh, I'm sorry your mother died. She was only 7. So I don't want to talk more because I'm going to start crying. But yeah.
Well, the thing is that people are also writing, Gabrielle wrote, "Teach your heart, shed a tear." And then Lisa wrote, "God bless you." And I have to, bless you in terms of with an ungod way, if there's people that don't believe in God here. So and then Ms. Zwiebel wrote, "Wow, that story just made me emotional. It made me emotional as well," said Ms. Tony Turner. And Kristen wrote, "Thank you for being the support of their team. The change you made is beyond important." And you know what? That student is always going to remember you for that. And a lot of times we think that when you think of traumatic things, you never think of the good things. You only think of the trauma or that part of the script. But with regard to your actions, I'm sure they will remember you, Miss Knight. And I'm pleased that I am not only your trainer today, but we've talked on Zoom before. Okay. You're my student. You have my heart. Miss Lisa, yes.
I just want to say really quickly that I can attest, and what she was just saying, because growing up, and you'll see in my wording, I had family issues growing up. I had a dad who was an alcoholic and lost his job, and so my mother had to raise 2 children. There was very little bit of food in the house, and so we went through a lot of trauma. And the school helped me, the counselors, and because I was very quiet, I didn't want to do things. So I could relate to my students today, because I understand what
Right.
that's like to be misunderstood, to be quiet, cry quietly, and I was always embarrassed to speak about it. Not that my dad was a bad man. Thank God he wasn't an abusive man. He was a very quiet man, but nonetheless, my brother and I suffered the trauma from it, and it carries over till today. And I put my love and heart into all that I do for my job, because I'm a mother first. I'm a mother of 4 children. So I always put that tough love, but I love my students. And that's how I do my job every day. I couldn't do it any other way. So I just want to say, thank God for people like all of us that do want to help these kids. I'm very blessed. And I was blessed with teachers like that. And I try to give back for the help. So that's why I do what I do every day. I just wanted to make a point of that.
Well, thank you for making a point of that. And also, I want to give everyone love and celebration here. We are reaching the end of our time together within this training. There are many things that we were very much on point. Most importantly, attendance. I want to thank you for your active participation today. I'm really, really, really pleased with everyone's work and knowledge. And hopefully you've grown since we first logged on this morning. I want to acknowledge that in your modules, the last task we're doing today is called the exit ticket. All right. And the exit ticket is right here. I'm going to annotate it because I think it's really fun to do. Forgive me for these cheap thrills. All right. And I'm doing it in orange. Okay. I'm sorry. My mouse pad's a little weird. So we see that it says the exit ticket. Okay. Then I get to use the virtual eraser. All right. So, and then I'm going to close that out. And I'm just going to click on this. You have 2 attempts to do this quiz. I'm going to stop the share for a moment. There's nothing wrong with failing an exit ticket in my world. However, I want you to answer these questions to your best ability. You have less than 15 minutes, and that's not an ideal situation. All right. However, by doing this exit ticket, you will get credit in the grade book. And then once you've completed it, you are free to go. Normally in this training, I ask you to do what's called the evaluation, but we're going to wait until Canvas pushes out toward the end of the semester, which will most likely be around Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving will there'll be, or Hanukkah, there'll be a push out to do the evaluation, which is more anonymous. So I'd like very much for us to go into the Canvas shell if you're able to, and then complete the exit save prevention and intervention assessment. Now, just before I give you the green light to do that, and don't make me say, what happens if you have 2 attempts and you don't get 100%, or you don't do as well as you like? Do you still get credit for the training?
Yes.
Great. Okay. So you heard it from Lisa and you heard it from me. So please don't fret if you don't get 100%. All right. Is that understood? Now, if you're Joseph Kalish, you might want to fret because you don't have access to the quiz because you're in the wrong section. And I haven't opened that section up. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop recording. So I'm going to say this is a wonderful time. Thank you so much for your participation today. I hope to see you again at Touro University. I'm just going to stop the recording.